What's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be reviewing a horror comedy that's becoming a Bollywood blockbuster. So, what are we waiting for? Let's talk about it. Bhool Bhulaiyaa Part 2. So Bhool Bhulaiyaa is a standalone sequel to the 2007 super successful film Bhool Bhulaiyaa. However, this film stars a completely different cast including Tabu, Kartik, Aaryan, and Kiara Advani. The film follows Ruhaan, a fraud psychic who is brought in to deal with the return of Manjulika, a spirit hell-bent on revenge against the Thakur family. This premise is similar to the original film, however, it's not connected to the prior, so don't worry if you haven't seen the first Bhool Bhulaiyaa. Now, let me first start off by saying that the film is too long. With a runtime of almost 2.5 hours, it could easily cut out 30 minutes of the film without sacrificing the movie's core storyline. The film had its humorous timings for most of the jokes, but some of the jokes felt forced and sort of irrelevant to the story. It's like the scenes were simply kept in the movies for a laugh, even though it didn't really progress the story, which I guess ultimately dragged the film. The characters in this film are fun, yet forgettable. For example, Kiara Advani's character could have been played by anyone. This character didn't have to be played by such a big shot actress. Kiara has displayed potential in her acting abilities in previous films. However, Kiara's abilities didn't contribute too much to this film, other than a pretty face to look at. But hey, if that's what gets people into theater seats, then why not? Kartik Aaryan plays the main protagonist who ends up tricking the townspeople into making them think that he's a ghost whisperer. And I had a good time seeing this development of this alter ego called Rubaba. The film does a good job incorporating the viewers on the origin and the journey of this character, and surprisingly, the jokes along the way landed. So I had my doubts about Kartik Aaryan replacing Akshay Kumar's iconic character from the original film, because first, at that time, we were introduced to such a refreshing character, and second, who can really replace Akshay Kumar? But to my surprise, Kartik brought a humor to the role and executed the comedic parts well. I actually didn't miss Akshay Kumar in this film. Even though Kartik wasn't convincing in the dramatic scenes in this film, I don't blame him too much due to the bizarre plot. Kartik has come a long way from his acting debut, and I'm glad to see this actor rising to a deserving stardom. But to me, the real star of the film is Tabu. Tabu is one of Bollywood's finest actresses, and her veteran acting skills brings a seriousness to a role, no matter how wacky the plot is. Oh yeah, and one of the most surprisingly entertaining characters of this film was a smart-ass chubby kid who added humor and held his own against these veteran actors. His chemistry with Kartik during their back and forth dialogues were quite entertaining and kept me wanting more. My biggest gripe with this movie is that the horror aspect lacks big time. I mean, I get that this is a horror comedy and it does the latter good. However, the film drops the ball on executing the horror factor. They set up the horror scenes pretty well, and just as the climax of the horror scene is about to be executed, the film sort of just interjects a joke and totally botches the horror setting and atmosphere that was so well done. And the film does this several times, and most of the time the joke isn't worth the sacrifice of the scare. I just needed one good execution of a horror scene. Not a jump scare, but an actual horror scene, which would leave with me after the viewing. Alright, so let's get real here. Don't go into this movie expecting to be so scared that you'll need a new change of pants afterwards. Instead, leave your logical ideas and common sense at home and go into this family entertainer to experience paranormal comedy and occasional jump scares. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Bhool Bhulaiyaa 2. If you liked it, hit that like and subscribe button. See you next time on Rob Gets Real. Peace!